What's up, world? This is Alexander Playtime Worlds of PlayTimeCares.com, giving you your full NXT recap. NXT exclusively on the WWE Network. This one is August 31st, 2016. It went back to Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. Tom Phillips, Corey Graves are your commentators. The show started off with medical personnel telling William Regal, with Samoa Joe sitting in between both of them, that not only did Samoa Joe dislocate his jaw in his match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 with Shinsuke Nakamura, but he didn't actually reveal other injuries that he actually had. So because of the fact that he had multiple injuries, that Samoa Joe isn't cleared to actually wrestle, and he don't think he'll be cleared to wrestle anytime soon. So of course Samoa Joe got upset and he left. Then you had your first match of the night. You had Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10 versus Buddy Murphy. A lot of 10 chants, then 1 chance towards Buddy Murphy. You know, Ty Dillinger fought his ex-partner last NXT episode. Every time Buddy Murphy tried to do something, it was either 1 chance or you're a 0 chance, stuff like that. It was a pretty decent back and forth match. You know, the crowd didn't get into it the way that they normally did when you had a Perfect 10, but it was a solid 2 or just an average 3. It was the best match of the night, actually. They started off the show pretty decently. Ty Dillinger ended the match with the tiebreaker, and like I say, it was I give it a 3. You know, a low end 3, well, extraordinary 2, extraordinary average match. Then they did a recap of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 with the Revival versus Gargano and Ciampa, and in that match, Gargano was injured and he was forced to tap out. The Revival targeted his leg and messed him up. But you know, Gargano is also in the Cruiserweight Classic tournament, so his opponent actually targeted that same leg, and Gargano was forced to have to tap out. So they switched over to a live interview with Ciampa, and they was asking him about Gargano's condition, and he said, you know, his leg gonna heal. Before he can even say anything else, the Revival came up on him and pretty much just started jumping on him. They started beating on him, and they beat him from the interview area all the way down to the ring and just kept busting him up. They said, hey, the Revival, we're the reality, and what we just did to Ciampa is a reality check. This is what's going to happen to all of the NXT Tag Team universe and all of the tag team that they're stepping our way. So that was pretty much that. Second match of the night, you had Steve Carter versus Kenneth Crawford. Steve Carter started off cutting a promo talking about you don't have to like him, you ain't got to love him, he don't care if you cheer for him, you don't care if you boo him. He just know that you're going to have to respect him. And then, you know, the match got underway. I mean, it was nice seeing some newer type people actually cut their teeth in the ring. A lot of missed bumps with each other, slipping, doing moves, stuff like that. But it wasn't a bad match or anything. Kenneth Crawford actually showed a lot of cool and innovative offense. But when it was all said and done, the man that said you're gonna have to respect him, Steve Cutler, he got a nice little driver on Crawford, and that was the end of that match. Match was a 2 out of 5. The crowd really never got into that one. Then they cut away to Hideo Itami, asked about why he did what he did at TakeOver Brooklyn 2, and he said that he gave Austin Aries the GTS and, you know, to go to sleep, and hey, it is what it is. And he said if Austin Aries complained about having his eardrum bust and all that type of stuff, he worried about being in pain, then he needs to get out of his ring. Otherwise, he's gonna put him to sleep again. Then they showed a recap of Shinsuke Nakamura's first match, his first match in the NXT universe, his intro, his debut, which happened April 1st at NXT TakeOver Dallas, where he beat Sami Zayn. Then they showed the Sanity promo again, and then they did a montage at TM61. Third match of the night, you had No Way Jose versus Angelo Dawkins. I was actually surprised. This was a very mixed crowd. NXT Universe is usually really, really pro No Way Jose, but hey, this crowd was split right down the middle. I really wish they would have allowed this match to actually go longer, because the crowd really was into it, but it was just too short of a match. No Way Jose ended the match with a full Nelson slam and got the win. Unfortunately, since the match was so short, this was only a 2 out of 5 match. It was just an average match. Then they cut away to Cien, almost actually being interviewed about rebounding after having his first loss ever in NXT. That happened at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. He was the guy that faced Mr. Glorious himself, Bobby Roode. He said he wasn't happy with losing. And then Austin Aries just came in and interrupted. He said, I'm not happy either. I'm not happy that there's a lack of respect around here with me. It's like every time I come and I try to get my shine on, people come and want to jump in and try to make a name off of me. Say, now I have this sockless loafer wear that just hit me with a go to sleep and ruptured my eardrum. And he's like, well, you know what? People keep trying to steal my spotlight, so I'm going to take your spotlight, Cien, just so I can complain. And Cien was like, well, you know what? Screw that. You messing with me? Well, I want to fight you next week. But he said it in Spanish. Austin Aries like, man, I don't speak Spanish. He said, well, understand me. Next week, I want a match with me. Austin Aries walked away saying, you said something in my bad there. Sorry, you said something in my bad there. And then he just left. Then they cut over to the July 13th match of Shinsuke Nakamura versus Finn Balor. And they just recapped that. And of course, Shinsuke won that match against Finn Balor, beating the Icon. Your fourth and final match was Liv Morgan versus Alia. This match right here was, it was something else. No real energy in the match whatsoever. Alia showcased some decent offense. I give her that. But the match wasn't really that good. I mean, this was, if it wasn't for Alia showing off a couple of decent moves and one potential submission move that could have been a really good finisher for, then I would have said this was a 1. Just a forgettable match, a 1 out of 5. It would have been the first NXT match I've ever given a 1. But Alia saved it to where it's actually 1.5, and I'll be generous and give it a 2. Alia, eventually gets kicked in the face by Liv Morgan after dominating the majority of the match, and Liv Morgan gets the win. It wasn't really that good of a match. So then No Way Jose was shown in the background. He was still partying, still full of energy from his victory. And he's interviewed about his victory. He said, look, I had a bump in the road, but hey, it's all right. Losing all series didn't matter. Look, I'm back on the winning track. He said that, the conga line that he's starting right now is going to bring him straight to the top. And you see Bobby Roode just approaching from the back. And Bobby Roode stopped and look at him up and down. Then just says, nice head, and walks off. Then they cut away to the August 20th match that was NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 between Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura. They did that recap. Of course, Shinsuke won the NXT title, and Samoa Joe was injured in that match with the 2 kicks to his face. He dislocated his jaw. And then they talked about Asuka returning next week. Alia, of course, is the women's champ who beat Bayley at NXT TakeOver 2. And then Shinsuke comes out, crowd goes wild. He said essentially that he wanted to face the best competition in the world. That's why he came to NXT. And then he started saying, hey, I beat Sami Zayn. I beat the Icon, Finn Balor. Now I beat Samoa Joe and I'm the NXT champion. So don't get me wrong, Samoa Joe hurt me, and I'm still hurting from it, but Joe era is over. This is now the era of strong style. And the crowd went nuts over it. And that's how NXT ended. Hey, subscribe to PlayTimeCares.com. I do more than wrestling recaps. Find my YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. Find me on all social media. It's always Playtime Cares. Playtime out. Subscribe to PlayTimeCares.com. I do more than just wrestling recaps. Follow my YouTube channel. It's Playtime Cares. Find me on all social media. It's always Playtime Cares.